What's up, boys? It's Lanky here again, back to talk to you about more news, more PlayStation news today. Although this is a little bit old from last week, last Thursday. Today is Monday, April 6th. As I record this, so this was acquired shortly after. Was it April Fool's Day? Who cares? April 1st. April 2nd? I think if my math is right. Who cares? It doesn't matter. PlayStation has acquired Cinemersive Labs, and this reminded me of a couple of things. It kind of reminded me of Gaikai in 2012, a streaming technology company that Sony acquired. But really, getting ahead of myself here. Let's get down to brass tacks and talk about what exactly Cinemersive Labs is from, of course, our friends at Push Square. The infamous, the notorious Stephen Tailby. PlayStation acquires machine learning specialists to achieve new levels of game visuals, which is everything we've ever wanted. That's why we have a PS5 Pro as the heading image here. Sony Interactive Entertainment, SIE, has announced its plan to acquire Cinemersive Labs, a UK-based outfit that specializes in machine learning and computer vision. This isn't a new game studio, Stephen writes. It's a team that'll be joining the company's R&D division, Visual Computing Group, which is predominantly concerned with neural networks, machine learning, and so on. If you read between the lines, that is AI. At Sony Interactive Entertainment, the company behind the PlayStation brand, we are continually exploring new ways to push the boundaries of visual computing and deliver richer, more immersive gameplay experiences, reads the statement on the company's website. Quote, today we are pleased to announce that SIE has entered into an agreement to acquire Cinemersive Labs. Cinemersive Labs was founded in 2022, and going by its website, it has specialized in developing tech that can turn a two-dimensional photograph into volumetric 3D immersive experience. Following the acquisition, the Cinemersive Labs team will join SIE's Visual Computing Group, as we already established, and contribute to our broader efforts in advancing state-of-the-art visual computing within games. This includes applying machine learning to enhance gameplay visuals, improve rendering techniques, and unlock new levels of visual fidelity for players. In the quote above, it seems the company will form part of an internal group focusing on ways to deliver cutting-edge visuals using the latest tech. Stephen writes, we won't pretend to fully understand exactly what this entails, but PSSR may be an example of this group's work coming to fruition in a consumer-facing way. PSSR, of course, is an upscaling technology that utilizes AI to reconstruct imagery at higher resolutions, improving the overall image quality. This is one of those acquisitions we aren't going to see much of in the public sphere, but we imagine some of Cinemersive Labs' work will find its way into the PS6 software later down the line. A lot of things to pull at here. Ultimately, I think there's good and bad to this. And I guess I'll start with, maybe it's just all bad. I don't know if it's good and bad. I take it back. I don't know. It's totally up to you what it is. Let me say it like this. Sony has now closed 2 studios in about a month in Blue Point Games, the Austin, Texas boutique remake and remaster studio, who was acquired in 2021 after they published Demon's Souls and released it. It was acquired in 2021. They never released a game, shut down in 2026 after becoming the world's most expensive support studio, helping on God of War Ragnarok and pursuing, of course, a God of War live service game. Mismanagement to the highest level. They close it down. It's not many employees. It wouldn't have been the first studio I would have picked as the one to close down. Looking at you, Media Molecule. But it's closed down. Thank you, Herman. And then shortly after that, of course, a studio that was rather small, even smaller, maybe half the size of Blue Point, if my research is correct, in Dark Outlaw Games, the Jason Blundell-led first-person shooter team that really never got going. They were in production phase. They thought they were building something fantastic. Kind of remained to be seen. I don't know if they actually had anything to show, really. Certainly not at the level that we all are at watching this video, making this video. And then Sony announces shortly after that they are acquiring another team. It's important to note this isn't a game development studio, as Push Square shared, as you know just from reading about Cinemersive Labs. And I said at the top, this reminds me of Gaikai. If you remember, even as a young boy, I remember reading about Gaikai. A streaming technology company acquired for a mere $380 million. Can you imagine acquiring something for so cheap these days? I wonder how much Cinemersive Labs was. Let's see if we can look. Whoops, not spelling any of that correctly. Cinemersive Labs acquisition cost for Sony. Not really seeing anything jumping off the page for this, so I don't know. Maybe I should have done a little bit of this research prior. But really, it boils down to, I mean, cost is important. It would certainly help our analysis. But really, the main thing is this isn't a game dev studio. So this neither helps, and in my opinion, it doesn't hurt really what they're doing. It should only make it better. Theoretically, people, of course, are upset if you have the money to spend, which I would assume is in the hundreds of millions. Is it over $1 billion? It's certainly possible with the way AI is going and the arms race with that. It's certainly possible. It's a cool billion. I wouldn't put it much over $2 billion if it's a couple billion or multiple billions. So really, no insight on price for you. I do think it was more expensive than Gaikai. Gaikai raised eyebrows. When you read about it now, I feel like there's a bit of revisionist history on what I read about it now. I don't remember it being that exciting as an acquisition back when I was reading IGN and everything. However, that led to PlayStation Home, which was big in streaming games and was really a kind of a future-proofing thing, I think, for Sony. But also, that technology has led the way to PlayStation Premium streaming now, which I think, again, is another important fact. That was an important acquisition for them. If you read also a little bit about Gaikai, they unwound all of those Gaikai deals. So Gaikai, as an independent entity, had deals with LG and Samsung to stream games direct to those smart TVs that were first coming out around then. So that was unwound in 2012, 2013. You can kind of see this in a similar way, right? So they not only acquire the technology, instantly boost their own internal Sony capabilities to stream with Gaikai, but they take it away from potential competitors. If you remember, this is an Xbox. Part of that plan was to have those TVs streaming that, and that, of course, would have been a Microsoft technology. Doesn't stop that. However, Cinemersive Labs, if they have truly incredible tech, and I'm sure they do. I don't know much about them. I'm poking around their website right now, and it is pretty incredible. It's like, maybe I'll just show you. Why don't I just show you? What are we doing? Show don't tell. Whoops. Boys, I am clicking all around every day of my life. I learn more of this software. So this is interesting. Obviously, this animation is a real-time rendering. What am I mean, that's pretty crazy. I don't know if you're getting that. This one was interesting to me. A little loading screen. So it is a 2D image. So you can see you can't, move around. There's nothing. It's not going to make up pixels. And it doesn't seem like you can really go far in there. But look, open in MetaQuest. It's funny to me how slow it loads. What happens if you press this? Wow. I mean, it is crazy, right? This looks like a screenshot from a video versus a 2D image, which I can kind of tell from looking at it that it was once that. I don't know. That's pretty impressive. What does it mean for Sony going forward? Well, I think a couple things. Everyone freaked out about DLSS 5 because they said this generative AI filter not only looks generative AI, makes everything look the same, but misinterprets or takes large liberties with the artistic intent and changes that for a game like Resident Evil Requiem. I did a video on that. I said, I don't think it looks bad in all applications. I think Starfield benefited greatly from DLSS 5. But people across the board were very upset about this, and I understand why. Even though I did make this point it could be really beneficial for a AA team to use something like DLSS 5 to really level up their visuals, to be at the level of a AAA studio without spending AAA dollars. Is that a little sneaky? That's up to you to determine. I would probably feel that way. I'll probably feel that way when it actually happens, but I'm not upset that there's things in a marketplace that exist to help different types of consumers get an experience that they wouldn't otherwise be able to at a lower price point, if that makes sense. Like, I think the Xbox Series S is a great product. Let me back up. The Xbox Series S is maybe not a great product, but it's a great price point for people to get into gaming, which is becoming such a hot button now with the PS5 Pro at $900 and the disc-based PS5 at $650, I think it is. Regardless, kind of getting ahead of myself. I think this technology is aligned or along the same lines as a DLSS 5 to help Sony, to help AMD further push the bounds of PSSR and take it to that level of DLSS 5. That's what this is. So if you're upset about that, I think this points to that. And then it points to, of course, the never-ending arms race that Sony created to have these impeccable, visually extraordinary, highly cinematic and immersive worlds that tell incredible stories. And part of that sauce is the visuals. And this is aligned with that. I don't think that most players are asking or demanding even better visuals. I think everyone would take it, but at what cost? I feel like I sounded like Tucker Carlson there. Really hope I never sound like that again. At what cost, boys? At what cost? Do we all want to pay for that? I don't really. And I bought two PS5 Pros, and I'm the problem, allegedly, to a lot of people. But the fact really remains that that's, to me, what this acquisition is about. It's about pushing the envelope of visuals as hard as they can, even as we experience and as we know as players. We already can tell, diminishing returns. We are in audiophile land at this point with the level of visuals that even a PS4 can achieve. It's pretty good. I think the PS5 is pretty great. It's pretty fantastic. I think developers, if given the opportunity to cut corners, will cut corners every single time. I think you can kind of see that with Crimson Desert. Again, I'm not super technical, so maybe it was incredibly difficult to get a game that large and complex running as it does on the Pro for the base PS5. And I do think PC is probably the biggest market for that game regardless. But again, as is often the case with these videos, I'm rambling. But ultimately, if I could put it succinctly at the end here, this Cinemersive Labs acquisition is a thing a business does when they want to continue growing and pushing. So it doesn't forgive the studio closures, but they will continue to operate as a business. Acquisition is a part of that for them, for their business. And this is aligned with two things. Gaikai in the past, which I think is the same technology that has informed streaming on PlayStation Premium, and the Portal. We have the Portal today largely because Sony bought Gaikai. And to compete with DLSS 5 and Nvidia, when Sony has a partnership with AMD, they probably feel the need to go into the market and acquire something such as Cinemersive Labs to further help, as they say, their machine learning, neural networks, and visual upscaling capabilities. That's why they've done this, boys. Write that in ink. You don't need to take a pencil to erase it, because it's a stone cold fact. Do you love it? Do you hate it? You tell me down below in the comments. Thanks for watching. Come back to this channel for regular game news and reviews. I had a lot of fun today. I'm curious to see what Cinemersive Labs comes up with. It'll probably be a couple years, but that is all. So thank you, boys, and thanks for watching.